You think you're in control of your own life, but there's a bunch of subconscious behaviors that are keeping you from having the life you truly want. Every generation has a set of governing patterns, a monoculture of sorts, that people unconsciously accept as truth. It's easy to identify the monoculture of Germany in the 1930s or America in 1776, but it's hard to see the effects of the present monoculture on our own lives. Once you've deeply accepted an idea as truth, it doesn't register as cultural or subjective anymore. So much of our inner turmoil is the result of conducting a life we don't inherently desire, only because we've accepted an inner narrative of normal and ideal without ever realizing. We're taught that creating the best life is a matter of deciding what we want and going after it, but in reality, we're psychologically incapable of predicting what will make us happy. We can only perceive what we've known, and when we choose what we want for the future, we're just recreating a solution or an ideal of the past. When things don't work out the way we want them to, we think we failed only because we didn't recreate something we perceived as desirable. We're wired to believe that success is somewhere we get to. When goals are accomplished and things are completed, and we're constantly measuring our present moments by how finished they are, how good the story sounds, how someone else would judge the elevator speech, we find ourselves thinking, is this all there is? Because we forget that everything is transitory and no one single instance can summarize the whole. We assume that when it comes to following our gut instincts, happiness is good and fear and pain are bad. But when you consider doing something you truly love and are invested in, you're going to feel an influx of fear and pain, mostly because it will involve being vulnerable. Bad feelings should not always be interpreted as deterrents. They're also indicators that you're doing something frightening and worthwhile. We needlessly create problems and crises in our lives because we're afraid of actually living it. The pattern of unnecessarily creating crises in our lives is an avoidance technique. It distracts us from actually having to be vulnerable or held accountable for whatever it is we're afraid of. We think that to change our beliefs, we have to adopt a new line of thinking, rather than seek experiences that make that thinking self-evident. A belief is what we know to be true because experience has made it evident. The fundamentals of any given monoculture tend to surround what we should be living. And there are a number of ways in which our current system has us shooting ourselves in the feet as we try to step forward. Be aware of these behaviors, question them and make the necessary changes to live a more fulfilling life, because the only thing you're rushing toward is death. Accomplishing goals is not success, how much you expand in the process is. We hold on to past failures and mistakes, like a weight around our necks, instead of learning from them and moving forward. We're too afraid to take risks and try new things, out of fear of failure or judgment. We're so focused on the future and what could go wrong, that we neglect to enjoy and appreciate the present moment. But it's time to break free from these limiting behaviors and beliefs. It's time to recognize that these patterns are not necessarily bad, but it's essential to be aware of them and to question them. It's time to stop living a life that you don't truly want, and start living a life that is true to you. Change is a process and it takes time, patience and self-awareness. But by taking the first step, by being aware of these subconscious behaviors, you're already on your way to having the life you truly desire. The power to change is within you, it's time to grab it, and make it happen.